Previously on Building Brupeg, we get hit by a tropical storm.
I don't know if you can see this, but it's probably blowing 50 knots now.
And we lose another solar panel.
200 watt solar panel. That was on the roof of Brupeg. That's how far it flew and crashed down, and now it's a flexible solar panel.
This week's episode, we meet Damien and Jess, and we take a tour of Brupeg in its current state.
So thanks for checking out our channel. I'm Damien.
I'm Jess.
And behind us is the star of the show, Brupeg. Join us as we convert her from an old fishing boat into an ultra long range polar expedition boat. So you might see there's a few bumps and bruises all over Brupeg. Where we're going, we intend to nudge ice out of the way, so she's almost certainly going to get a few more with us. So let me show you the back end of the boat. So you can sort of see the size of Brupeg here. She's a pretty sizable boat. There's a few things along the side here that I can point out. So you might be wondering what some of these rails are down the bottom. So right underneath the boat you've got these big pipes here. There's some on this side and there's some on the other side. These are actually cooling pipes. They work like the radiator in your car. This is how we cool our engines. So it's what's called keel cooling. So the coolant from the engines runs through these pipes and the seawater cools it right down. So it's a really efficient way of actually getting engine cooling for boats. Beside me is this is a big piece of steel that we cut out of the engine bay. There's a good video up on YouTube of this one. Yeah, so that we had a little bit of electrolysis in there, and we cut the whole thing out and put a new piece of steel in there. So this is yet to be sandblasted and painted, and then there's also a bit of welding up around here. Same deal, needs to be sandblasted. We'll get that painted soon. So further forward, you can sort of see this little square that we cut out here. That's yet to be sandblasted and painted as well. This is actually one of our water tanks, one of the two water tanks. This one holds about 3,500 litres, and on the other side is another one about the same size. Those were cleaned out and they were all sandblasted and painted, and we're just about to get them filled and washed. So let me show you Brupeg from the front end. So this is the bow of Brupeg. So this is where we are going to be doing the modifications to make it ice strengthened when we get to this stage. And yeah, this is basically what determines how efficient Brupeg is going to be, is the shape of the bow. So there's a wee bit more work that we need to do. Obviously, you can sort of see our anchor roller and everything up there. We're going to strengthen that up so that we can fit a bigger and more powerful anchor. And we'll also probably be putting some stainless plating around the front so that when the anchor does sort of come up, it doesn't hit the steel and create rust or anything like that. So let's go right round. I'll show you some of the other side. So this is the other water tank on the other side of the boat, and in this gap here, on the front end is fuel tanks, and on the back end is water tanks. So this here is what's called the coffer dam, and it's where we can climb down from the first story of the boat down into the bottom half of the boat and adjust all of the fuel levels and so on in there. So that's our fuel and water. Let me show you some of this stuff for the main engine. So underneath here you can see there's rows and rows of pipes. It's the same as what's on the other side. This is keel cooling for the main engine. So this keeps our main engine cold. This is the propeller for our engine. So this is the only way that we can drive forward, is to keep this propeller safe. So we have what's called a quartz nozzle all the way around here, and this is what protects us from ice. So it actually there's a couple of reasons we have it. It gives us more horsepower and more thrust when we're at low speeds pushing ice, and it also stops big chunks of ice going through into the propeller. So we have bars that go across here that protect the propeller from big bits of ice. So I'll show you the rudder and how we steer the boat. So right at the back end of the boat is our rudder. So at the moment it's got my little diesel test running, but this is how we steer the boat. It moves from side to side, and it directs the water that's being pushed out of the back of the propeller off to either side depending on where we want to move the boat. So it's really important that we protect this when we're in the ice. So there will be some protection put around this when we go into the ice, just to keep it safe and make sure we always have steering. So that's the bottom end of Brupeg. Let me show you up top, and I'll start with the wheelhouse. So this is the wheelhouse. So if you have a quick look around, it's still in its preliminary stages, but you can see there's massive visibility. We've got 15 windows all the way around us, so it's awesome for pushing through ice. We're able to be in storms and all sorts of stuff, and it's nice and warm and comfortable. It's all in undercoat stage, so please don't judge us for our colour choice. You see up here we've got, this is going to be our top coat colour, so the whole, it's going to look a bit navy when you come in here, but it should be pretty fun. This is where we drive the boat from. All of the systems and navigation and steering and everything's done from this area of the boat. So we've built new floors and everything. We've got new handrails all coming up into this area here. Yeah, it's a pretty safe and solid area of the boat. It's right in the centre, so it's a great spot to sort of see some of the view from. So I'll take you up front. So this is what used to be the kitchen and dinette sort of seating room when the boat was a workboat. We've converted the whole thing into a kitchen. Because we've got the huge lounge out the back, we can basically dedicate all of this space to cooking and you know, making good meals and all that sort of stuff. So we've got, this is a regular size house fridge, which not a huge amount of boats actually have, but we're going to actually double the size of this when we go on some of our bigger trips. So I'll show you the rest of the kitchen. So the layout's pretty simple. We've got two big benches, so big stainless bench over here. This is our wet bench, so it's got lips and everything to keep as much water as possible in the sinks and the least amount out. And then over this side is our cooking and prep bench. This will be stainless eventually as well, and we're going to have a gas oven going in here as well. One of the benefits of the layout, the way we've done it, is because the cooking is like the door comes down this way as opposed to being, say, sideways, is at sea. It's much safer, and you can, if you're standing here cooking and the boat does a big lurch or a roll, the pots are going to crash away from you, as opposed to if you're side onto it, they'll come at you. So we've laid it out this way so that we can, you know, be in some pretty atrocious weather and places and still be really safe and still cook good meals. We also want, so health is a really big thing for us. We want to make sure people are really healthy when they come on board the boat. And we've started our filtering system. So this is one of two filters that goes on this boat. So the entire boat water system is filtered down to 1 micron, and all of the drinking water is filtered down to 0.2 of a micron. So yeah, really good quality drinking water and everything, and then all of it, clothes washing, showers, the whole lot go through this system. So it's yeah, you don't come onto a boat and expect scummy water when you come onto Brupeg. It's, yeah, health is a really important thing for us. So this is one of the two cabins on the front half of Brupeg. So come on board. When we, at the moment it's just doubling as our little lounge until we get the main lounge out the back sorted. But when we go to sea, this is going to be set out as 2 single bunks in this room, stacked one on top of the other. It's also our planning room, so all of our jobs and everything, you can sort of see there's today's job list and then the next 3 months sort of planned out up on these boards. So we, yeah, it's quite a lot of planning. We did a big clear off this morning. We've done a lot, so we're now starting again. So one of the things with Brupeg is we want to make sure she's incredibly safe when we go to sea. We don't want anyone coming away with injuries and things like that. So with the beds, the sea berths that we're designing, there's actually a lot of background knowledge that's going into them to make sure that they're really safe. A few years ago, a job that I used to have, I was on a Korean fishing boat in New Zealand, and we were going down into the Southern Ocean, and we got hit by 96 knots of wind for 36 hours, so it was pretty awful conditions. Yeah, we had to sleep during that, you know. So we were getting 15-meter seas. We were getting chucked around in this thing like we were a bobbing cork. If you have a double bed in those conditions, you end up crashing from side to side, and you just literally can't sleep, and then you get sleep deprivation and all the other stuff. With a really skinny sea berth, you can actually sort of squash yourself into the bed, even if the boat's getting chucked around, and you can get actually reasonable sleep in awful conditions, and it's quite safe. So that's one of the reasons we're actually putting bunks in as opposed to like a big double bed. So if you've got an expedition boat and it's offering double beds, that's actually something to be a bit nervous about, because if things go wrong, it actually ends up being very uncomfortable and a disappointing trip. We want a trip with Brupeg to be an awesome experience. That's why we have our single berths. So that's the front cabins, and we'll just walk through back out into the back of the boat, the lounge and the rear deck, and you can sort of see as we go through, this is basically the kitchen from the other view. So I'll take you out to the back of the boat now.
So here we are in the lounge. In front of me, under the boat, there'll be 2 bedrooms. I'm not sure what we're going to do with them, probably bunks or double beds or a combination. Bathroom and change room on the side. We've got 2 exits in the case of emergency to the outside of the boat, to the deck. So yeah, this is the lounge. We're going to leave this as a really open space. And you know, we have sofas and it'll be really comfortable. And it'll have inside more heating for when we get into some cooler weather.
We're going to build are quite tricky. They're called pantograph hinge doors. So they don't have normal hinges and open and close like a normal door. They're more like an airplane door where they physically slide out and then slide back and then back in.
Because we don't have a lot of space out there, so
it sounds a bit complex, but we've got a video on those coming up soon, and they're pretty cool, and they potentially need a NASA supercomputer to get the damn things to work.
Don't try.
You'll see all of that soon.
Made a mock-up and it was really hard. Anyway, so lounge. So and this will be we're going to keep this a big space. There's going to be big sofas for extra bedding, just for anyone who wants to be on board for a couple of nights, and inside flow. So Dave's built doors that'll sit here, and then when they fold out, one of the things I love about it is they fold out and they take up the same space as these windows, so you can't actually see the doors when they're open, and they hook on the outside. And big deck outside. Okay, so here we are at the back, come through from the lounge, and pretty much where most of the action's going to happen, on the boat probably. This will be where we launch our boats and kayaks and dive from, and yeah, the fun happens out here.
There's heaps of space, so when we're in the tropics and some of the warmer climates, we'll probably be doing quite a lot of dining out there as well. To give you maybe a bit of an idea, you can put an 8-seater table out there and still have plenty of room around all the sides, so it's kind of ludicrously big for a boat, which is awesome when you want to do a lot of stuff out here. So yeah, tropics is going to be a very social spot. In the Arctic and some of the polar regions, it's going to be a lot of activities and a lot of sort of adventure and exploration and stuff is going to be launched from this back end, so that's one of the reasons why we kept it so big and flattened it right off. And
I imagine will still be a work space probably in the next 2 years too, as we improve things and change things as we go along.
As you know, Brupeg's halfway through its conversion. There's a lot of work to do. Probably 60% of the work will be finished when the boat goes in the water, and there's still going to be quite a bit when we're in the water to do, like interior fit out, that sort of thing. So this big space out the back here is going to be pretty handy for that. We'll be cutting bits of plywood and doing all sorts of stuff out here for a while to go yet.
So just to orientate you to where we are on the boat, just the back tanks are diesel tanks. There's one on each side. The engine bay.
Basically, right in each corner is a tank.
Yeah, pretty much we're down standing forward. The engine bay is quite a big engine bay. It's pretty spacious. I think you've got a post on.
There's a couple of videos of the engine bay. So we recently sandblasted it. You can see the engine being lowered back down and all of the engine bay being painted. If you're curious about that, click this link here. Just there somewhere. Let me take you up the front. I'll show you how we get up there and then also how much room's up there. So this is the front end of Brupeg as it is right now. We're going to be putting a seat just on the front end of the cabin here, so that obviously you can look right out. You can sort of see the height of the rails. There's plenty of height, so it's nice and safe to see. And also because of the height, it really helps with spray and water and stuff and keeps the boat quite dry. It's pretty bare up here. We don't need a lot of gear up this end. We've basically just got our anchor winch, all of our anchors set up, anchors down at the moment. And then this is our chain locker, where we put all of our gear. You can sort of see it's a bit of a deep one. A couple of fenders down the bottom there just for comparison. So these are some of the barnacles that came with the boat when we bought it. That was an optional extra, one of the benefits of being underwater. So we need to sandblast all of this and clean it up before we go to sea. So you may notice a slight custom bend in our handrail. When the boat was underwater, it actually sat on its side, and when they tried to pull it upright, they strapped big ropes around it. So there was one here and one down here, and when they pulled it, obviously the boat was heavier than they thought, and this here gave way. So we've got to cut this off and repair it so it'll look the same as the other side when we're finished, so it'll be a nice straight curve. But at the moment we haven't touched this. We haven't done a lot of work on the front area yet. We've been concentrating on getting the back end of the boat right. So you can sort of see, this is looking back, you can see the wheelhouse area. You can see a couple of seats just sort of sitting there at the moment, and it gives you an idea of how much visibility you've got in terms of the boat. I'll just take you over the back end of the boat now if you like. So this is obviously the wheelhouse roof. There's a few solar panels just randomly sitting on there at the moment. We haven't organised those. And then this is our big rear roof. So you can sort of see the dots all over it at the moment. That's actually welds. They've burnt through the paint. We welded on the underside and it's burnt through the paint on the top. And then all of those little tags, that's actually the mounts for the solar panels. So all of the solar gets mounted along the back and then just tucked in behind the wheelhouse. So actually I'll go right down the back of the boat. I'll look forward. So this is the back end of the wheelhouse. And between these last solar mounts here and the air conditioning units up the front there's going to be a large inflatable, hard bottom inflatable dinghy mounted across there, and we'll have a crane to lift that up and down. So that gives us the ability to do some pretty big excursions away from Brupeg. So we'll be able to sort of travel, 15-20 miles away from Brupeg in that boat once we've got that. So I hope you enjoyed that. We've got heaps more coming up on building Brupeg. So please like and subscribe to our channel, and if you thought it was awesome, share it with your mates. Yeah, we'll show you some of the bits of it. I like seeing bits.